Keep Chalm and Carry On is the second episode of season 37 of The Simpsons. This is directed by Timothy Bailey, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. And I like this one. I thought it was good fun, a little bit different, and quite topical as well. It starts off with Bart getting an A on his homework, and my first thought was, what's going on? We find out pretty quickly it's because he used AI. And they refer to it as Cheat GPT, which I'd never heard of before. I'm surprised I hadn't heard that. It seems like a pretty common name somebody would call Chat GPT, but it amused me quite a lot. And the teachers are panicking, so they decide to bring in some AI detection software, and the kids work out how to bypass this. So they do something that I thought was quite clever. They hid the word banana in the prompt, invisible, presumably white text on white background, so that when the kids copied it into Cheat GPT, the prompt would spit out, or in response to the prompt, it would spit out information about bananas. I thought that was really clever. But are kids really doing that? Using AI to do their homework and not at least checking over it? Not that I'm trying to encourage it, I think it's a terrible thing. But if you're going to use AI to do your work, the least you could do is read over it. And Chalmers announces that it's now a phone-free school, which I don't think is a good idea, but nevertheless, what I do think is a good idea is he says that all homework will now be written in class, which if it's done during school hours, I think is a really brilliant idea. 1, there's no chance of cheating. 2, kids can't say they didn't have time because it's during lessons. And 3, the teachers are on hand to help out. I think that that's absolutely fantastic. If you're going to give kids homework, set time during school hours for them to do said homework. I know there are things like homework club, but they're after hours. So I actually don't think that that's a terrible idea. And of course, point 4, it stops them from using AI. So I don't disagree with that. And then Martin suggests that they use the AI software to find plagiarism in Chalmers' thesis to get back at him. And it shows plagiarism. Now, I don't think he did plagiarize, but AI maybe isn't that intelligent, and it's only as intelligent as the person reading what AI spits out. And clearly, Chalmers gets into trouble for this, and Chalmers ends up unemployed. He goes to Moe's, really great scene there. Homer says he can get him a job at the power plant. And the next thing we know, Chalmers is the custodian. And this didn't go in the way I thought it was going to for several reasons. 1, I didn't expect the giant snail. He gets stuck in this snail goo, and this snail is moving very slowly towards him. And then Shauna tells him his face looks great and that this snail goo is actually brilliant for skincare. And I thought Chalmers was going to secretly collect the snail goo whenever he was working and then secretly package it and do whatever. But that's not what happened. He went straight to Mr. Burns with the idea. And the next thing we know, he's on this talk show talking about Escar Bro, which, okay, referring to skincare as bro, making it gender specific, even though it did seem like it could be for anybody. Bit of an interesting choice. But at the same time, I do love the name. If you're going to make it from snail goo, I quite liked the name. And we have various reels of people, Homer, Wiggum, dabbing this skincare, and it was entertaining. I quite liked it. Maybe the talk show scene went on a little longer than necessary, but ultimately I did find it to be an entertaining or interesting part of the show. And then we have a brief celebration. Shauna gets a new pony, and then Chalmers goes back to school to talk about things. And this is where it gets really interesting, because suddenly he sees all of these kids dabbing on this Escar Bro, and he never meant for it to be aimed at children, to be marketed at children. And at the moment, there is this huge problem, maybe not a huge problem, but certainly a big issue where children are getting so concerned about and obsessed with skincare. Now, I don't think every young child who's using expensive skincare is doing it because they're genuinely anxious and scared of their skin aging. I think a lot of it is just about the hype. I think a lot of it is just younger children seeing children on TikTok, which in itself I don't agree with, but seeing younger children obsessing over skincare products, so they think they need to do the same. I think generally it's about the hype, but there will be some young children who are watching people their own age online doing these elaborate skincare routines, and the panic sets in. And they think they need to do that, and they start to worry about their skincare. And obviously, you need to take care of your skin, but at a certain point, you have to accept that you're too young for this. And I think it really does a great job of highlighting this. Now, I don't think any young person watching The Simpsons will watch this and suddenly go, oh, actually, you're right. Maybe I don't need an expensive, elaborate skincare routine. I think it's going to be more suitable for older viewers, parents or guardians of children, who are maybe encouraging, or at least not discouraging, this panic about or obsession with skincare. And I think that it could be a really great educational opportunity there, while also being entertaining. So I think they did a really good job with that. And as Skinner said, he wants to protect the children at the school from, and I quote, social media swindlers who profit off of insecurities you shouldn't even have yet. I love that. That is my favourite line from the whole episode, from most Simpsons episodes. It may not be the funniest thing ever, but it is so perfect and basically sums up so many problems we have today with social media. I think it's fabulous. And then Chalmers bans all skincare. He says it, I won't say it because I can't, I'm not good at doing voices, but he says skincare the way he says Skinner, which I thought was very funny. And it was a nice way to end the episode. We actually end with Homer and the others feeding the snails some salty snacks, which is ill-advised. And then we really end with Homer in a trash can, which is not what I expected. It's a really solid episode. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit different. Focusing on Chalmers gives us something a little bit more interesting. It was good fun, really creative, really well executed story, and quite important as well with regards to messages about younger children or children in general being overly concerned with skincare health. Thinking back, I don't think we ever really had any lessons at school about looking after our skin. We had many lessons about health in other ways, but skincare health, I feel like maybe if they taught that more in school, maybe they do, maybe this is just my experience, but if they maybe educated children more on how to look after your skin based on your age, maybe it could help combat that a little bit. Maybe they're starting to do that, I don't know. But either way, I thought it was quite thought-provoking, quite important, and also, ultimately, Keep Chalm and Carry On is a pretty entertaining episode of The Simpsons.